So good morning, I'm Sonia Hall, and this is my wonderful fourth grade class at Holladay Elementary School. Today we're going to be analyzing and interpreting artifacts. Hope you enjoy our lesson. So you guys know we've been learning a lot about Virginia Indians, and a lot of what we've been learning has come from sources like this, right?
Yes.
And so we've been learning that these sources got their information from primary and other secondary sources, right? So we spent a lot of time making sure we could distinguish between primary and secondary sources. So let me ask you all something before I show you some examples, just to make sure. We're just reviewing before we get started. So let me ask you all something. If I make a presentation about Virginia Indians, is that a primary source or a secondary source?
Secondary source.
Yeah, because I'm old, but I wasn't there, right?
Yes.
Right, because we know that a primary source is a document or object that was created during that time period, right?
Yes.
And we know that a secondary source is gathered from someone who was not a part of the event, right? Or did not witness the event. So we'll just review and see if you all remember some. This is Anne Frank's diary. Primary or secondary?
Primary.
Very good. This is our book that we use all the time, and a physical science book.
Secondary.
What about a recording of an interview from a Civil War soldier?
Primary.
Does anybody remember what year the Civil War ended?
Oh, I think 1945? 1957?
No, 1865. So none of those people are still alive, but we do have recordings of soldiers, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
How about artifacts or antiques?
Primary.
And these are the ones we're going to focus on today, the artifacts. What is an artifact? Let me see who remembers what an artifact is. An artifact, Edwin?
I forget the name.
That's okay, Edwin. You need some help?
Yeah.
Micah?
It's like leftovers of like people that were at the time. They used that.
Oh, anybody want to clean that up a little bit? Or add to it? Yep.
The ancient people had made these artifacts and they left them behind.
That's right. And we are also leaving artifacts behind, right? Our pencils, my notebook, this right here. I'm leaving this behind, right?
Yeah.
So these are things made by man. What about these?
Primary.
But what's the difference between an artifact and a fossil? Talk to me, Omen.
Fossils are remains of living animals at the time.
That's right. And artifacts are made by man. Oh, this is a hard one. What about a photograph? Riley, primary or secondary?
Primary.
Who is that?
Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama.
Okay. What about a TV show on Discovery?
Secondary.
Secondary. That's right. So we also learned about let's go back. We also learned about the scientists who help us learn about the past. So let me see if you all remember what these scientists do. Are these all the scientists who help us learn about the past? No, there are many, many types, but these are some of the ones we learned about. What about historians? What do they study? They study documents. What about anthropologists?
Culture.
Oh, I didn't think you remember that one. What about chemists? Somebody raise your hand on this. Somebody raise your hand and tell me what chemists study. Yeah, right. You need a little help?
Yes.
All right, how about you? Oh, Rudy, join us.
Object.
They might date objects and they tell us what things are made of, right? And I think, Riley, you were thinking about the next one, geneticists, right? In the DNA. The ones we learn the most about are these two at the bottom. Paleontologists and archaeologists. What's the difference between the two? Go ahead, Rose.
The
Paleontologists.
paleontologists like find the fossils.
They find and study the fossils. And what do the others do? The archaeologists.
They
You can get a bit of help. Yep, absolutely. Micah?
and the archaeologist studies Artifacts.
Artifacts. That's what we're going to do today. So today, all this year, we're going to be analyzing primary and secondary sources. You're going to do them when we do Jamestown, when we do the American Revolution. We're going to be looking at them all through this year. But today, we are going to set the stage, and in this lesson, we're going to learn more about archaeologists and how they think about artifacts. You're going to be archaeologists today. Right? You're going to be archaeologists, and you're going to learn about how they think critically, and also I hope you learn something about how we sort of, the knowledge of history is shaped in general, okay? So here are our learning targets. We are going to be able to analyze and interpret artifacts, mainly artifacts today. Each group is going to have an artifact, okay? And hopefully this will help us to understand how history sort of works, right?
Yes.
How will you know you've learned it? When you can explain how archaeologists use observations to make inferences and draw conclusions and learn about the past. And hopefully at the end of this lesson you'll be able to explain how our knowledge of history sort of changes over time, okay? So that's what we're trying to do.
Yes.
All right. So this is what archaeologists do. You might take a little wiggle break. Stand up, stretch, because you've been sitting. Stand up and stretch. Get it out. Wiggle a little bit. And then sit back down. I love it. I love it. Okay, so archaeologists, which you're going to be today, they question, they research. Remember, we learned, we saw videos. We watched a lot of things, a lot of video on archaeologists. We've read about archaeologists. They survey. Can anybody tell me what survey means real quickly? Survey. Yep. Go ahead. Same people. Can I get somebody else? Gladys. What does that mean?
Map or site by ground or air.
Yeah, but no, I want to know, what does the word survey mean? Because we learned survey in math too, right? But we learned survey. What did we do when we took a survey in math? Remember, we took the surveys before we graphed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember you went around the room and asked these questions? That was that survey. But this survey means what? Go ahead, Edwin.
That you find it in a map?
Right, you might map out the site, you might locate the site and draw a map of it. You're trying to find out where these artifacts are. What is a site? What is a site?
A location.
A location. Absolutely, it's a location. We also learned the word excavate, which means everybody.
Dig.
And we learned the word, well, we've been learning all year. We've been collaborating all year. What does that mean?
So we're working
We're working with other people. Does anybody know what the word reconstruct means? Reconstruct. Yinky.
Build it again.
Build it again. Very good. Very good. You've been paying a lot of attention to my lessons. I love it. And analyze means, we learned that over and over again. We've been analyzing all year. Analyze something. When we analyze it, same people. Can I get somebody? Go ahead, Omid. Forgot? Okay.
You take apart?
Take it apart. We're going to take it apart. Interpret. Now, we've been doing that a lot in literature when we read our text. We've been interpreting the text and telling what it means. What it means, right? So we've been doing that. And of course, we just started learning a lot about observing in science. What do you do when you observe something? Cindy.
Probably see if it's like, if it stays the same or if it like changes.
You do that, but what do you use? What do you use? There are 5 of them.
Your sight, smell, hear, taste, and touch.
I'm glad you brought that up, because today, when you're observing, please do not taste.
No.
We're not tasting. We're going to use touch, but we've got gloves. We're going to use smell, but remember, when we smell for science, we are wafting. We're not going to actually pull it up to our nose. We're going to waft the smell, right?
Yeah.
All right? And we can listen, but we are not tasting. No, we're not tasting. That's right. So a lot of times in science you don't taste, right? But you do observe. And what is an inference? What do you do when you make an inference? So what do I do? Tell me how I make an inference. Yeah, go ahead,
It
Riyadh.
means like you're thinking about the answer, it may be that answer.
Right. Remember yesterday when we were doing our inferences? You in the picture you used pictures. Remember that?
Yeah.
And what did you do?
We made.
How did you make the inference? Who wants to put it together for me? How about, kind of been the same people? Can I get, how about, can you talk to me? Talk to me.
So there was like words at the bottom, and we could like figure out if it was like an inference or observant.
That is perfect. You have to figure out the inference, right? You use your observations plus what's already in your head, and all your experience in life, all your 9 years on the planet, and you figure out something that doesn't say, right? Or something that's not there. And you drew your final, remember yesterday you drew your final conclusion. So that's what you're going to do today. Then you're going to hopefully maybe try to name your artifacts, right?
Yeah.
And remember, we learned that they've named, what do they name artifacts by a lot of times? Remember Clovis?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was
New
Clovis?
Mexico.
Yeah, where was Clovis?
New Mexico.
New Mexico. So a lot of times they name it by the place, right?
Yes.
Or sometimes by the person who found it. So you're going to try to give it a name. Then you're going to publish and you're going to put it out there in the world. You're going to stand up and tell us what you found out about the artifact. Sound good?
Yes.
Almost there, almost there. So today you're going to be alien archaeologists. The year is?
30.
You're going to be aliens, right?
Yes.
It's 3023. You're studying life. We don't know where these earthlings have gone. The earthlings might be on another planet, right?
Yes.
But they're gone. You're here and your team has been studying Earth for a while, trying to figure out, you've been excavating, trying to figure out about these creatures, these earthlings, right?
Yes.
And so you've been studying life in Henrico in the past. You know that, we know, your team has already found out that the artifact has already been dated. It's dated to the year 2023.
Yeah.
Okay? Your team found it on a site and already determined that it was a neighborhood of single family houses where each family lived in their own house. The historians studied the excavated documents and they know that this site was called Henrico County, Virginia, in some place called United States of America, right? And so your artifact was uncovered at the site of one of these homes. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, real quick. This is what you're going to do. You're going to go to your desk, gather your papers, not yet. Put on your alien antennas, get your magnifying glasses, put on your gloves because, you know, artifacts are delicate, right?
Yep. You don't want to mess.
You don't want to mess them up, right? And you're going to give your group, I'm going to give you your research that's already conducted. I'm going to give your group the artifact you're analyzing. I'm going to give your group some other artifacts that were found with it, so you can figure out more about it, right?
Yes.
And you're going to use those sheets to observe, make some inferences, use important clues, and try to figure out what this is, what it was used for, and give it a name. And this is what the sheets look like. So that's your discussion guide. You can jot little notes, use it to drive your discussion with your groups about the artifact, right?
Yes.
It's already on your desk. And you're going to, now this part you're going to fill out because this is what you're going to publish. What was the artifact? What do you think it was? What was it used for? And what does it tell you about the people who used it? And can you give it a name? I'm going to give you about maybe 10 minutes, 12. I'll see how it's going. Then I'm going to come around. That's the first excavation. You might have some questions because you know archaeologists, a lot of times they analyze these artifacts and they want to know more. They go back in and they dig again, right?
Yes.
I'm going to give you a few more artifacts, and then you're going to do excavation number 2 on the other side.
Okay.
And see if you want to change it. You might decide that you already know what it is and you don't need to do any further thinking, but you might want to think further, right?
Yes.
All right, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so you're going to go grab your materials and go to your learning groups with your learning teams. Grab your pencils too. All right, I love it, I love it. Let me grab your artifacts. All right, you guys have this artifact. You guys have this artifact. You guys have this artifact. You have this artifact.
I feel like it's something to like
Other
push through
artifacts
here.
that we found with
Like a lemon.
I don't think a lemon would fit.
All the other facts that were found.
Yeah, it's too big for a.
Maybe you put like dough in it and you like squish it to make pasta.
These artifacts were found with it. They were found in the same strata.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So you all are going to want to think. So what sheet, this is the sheet right here. This is going to guide your instruction right here. You want to think about your object. Start off by observing your object, right? This is your artifact, and these are the others that were found nearby.
The dumpling.
Like we laid dumplings to eat and just
You're going to want
This is very like springy. These two look very similar. This one is smaller.
Are you all describing? Good. You're starting with describing this is your artifact. Remember, these are the artifacts nearby. That should give you clues to what this may be, right? And so, you guys, you want to start by thinking about what this is made of, the color, the size, the shape. And then these other artifacts give you some clues to what it might be, right?
Yes.
This is your artifact. So, you're going to start off. What are you going to say about this? What's going to be an observation? Okay. All right. So you jot that down. Jot that down. So you want to jot down some clues, some observations about this artifact, because this is your artifact that you have to identify. One thing that one group said was it has ridges. Is that an observation or an inference? Then it says. Then the person said it looks like it's for cutting. What is that? Inference. So they put that in the inference column. See, that's what they're. So you should have a bunch of inferences from your observations. I love it. What does it remind you of?
I think it reminds me of kind of like when you put something in it.
No, but what object does it remind you of in your life?
my mom's sweater.
A sweater. Okay. What else?
iPhone.
A brush. I think you mean comb.
Oh yeah.
That's okay. You're just learning these words. So comb. Yeah, a comb. So it's kind of comb-like, right?
Yeah. So inferences is kind of comb. I would say kind of comb.
Well, I would say, yeah, okay. And so what do you think it's used for?
For hair.
Or like for food.
Or like cutting food on like
Or maybe cutting food?
Yeah.
Okay, so write that. You can write that down.
like a pig. Maybe a chicken bone because that's small. Maybe chicken leg.
That looks like the chicken leg that I ate last time.
There's yellow stuff inside here.
It says fossil.
I don't think it's paper. Maybe. Ooh, it looks like garlic.
Oh, maybe they put garlic in here and they just bam.
Yeah, a garlic smash.
Okay,
Garlic.
so what do you think it is now?
I see it open.
You think it's a seed opener? Okay, all right. Because you saw the fossil. Are the seeds a fossil or is it a artifact? Which one? Seed, fossil or artifact?
Fossil.
Fossil. Yeah, because they.
It's a living.
Yeah, comes from a living thing.
grow.
Yeah, okay. All right. So right here, this group, hold up your artifact, Omid. Tell me what the artifact is.
We call it.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Yep,
We call it a roll mixer.
roll mixer, okay. What gave you a clue to that?
All the powder. It was very hard to mix. They probably needed something to mix it.
Okay, so roll mixer. And what was it used? It was used for what?
It was used to mix like juice that is very like not smooth.
Okay, and what does that tell you about the people who used it? What did you learn about the people who used it?
They used a bunch of artificial powder.
They used a bunch of artificial
And
power.
they're lazy.
And you think they're lazy. Okay, all right. Let me hear from that group. Hold your artifact up. So what did you all say that was?
We all said that it was a seed opener.
A seed opener, okay. And what gave you that clue?
It gave us the clue because it's meant for to put like
something in it that has a seed to squeeze it, and the seed is gonna come out of.
Okay, and what gave you a clue to that? I mean, how did you know that's what it was?
Because we had a cup, a spoon, and then we had like a bowl, so it gave us a clue that it would probably be from the kitchen.
So you looked at the artifacts nearby to figure that out. Okay. And so what does that tell you about the people who used that thing?
I think that the people who used it did not feel like going in the fruit to actually find the seed, so they could just use this.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. What did you all call your artifact?
A garlic masher.
A what?
A garlic masher.
A garlic basher. Okay. Masher.
Yeah.
So what was it used for?
It was used to mash garlic because our fossil had like garlic leaves in it.
Okay. So what does that tell you about the people who used it?
They loved garlic.
They loved garlic. Okay. The Earthlings must have loved garlic. Okay. And what about yours?
We called it the dumpling maker
How did you know it was a dumpling maker? What was a clue?
because we looked at it and we knew that, and we found out that you put like dough and like stuff in it, and then you just like put it to that side.
But how did you know you had dough? You could put dough in it. What was a clue?
That the clue was that we used like all the clues we found out, like the ridges.
Oh, the ridges gave you the clue. Okay, so what does that tell you about the people who used that?
They were also lazy and they just couldn't find out how to put the shape in.
Okay, all right. Let's actually look up here and see what those things actually were. From 2023, that is a shake ball. So you put it in when you're making smoothies, you put it in the blender and shake. So they were really very close, right? All right. This right here is a fruit slicer.
Oh! That's why they had the ridges.
Uh-huh. That sounds good. You guys had a garlic press.
Yay!
And you had a dumpling press.
Yay!
Now, but the bigger question is we need to think about this. What does this tell you? What have we learned about how archaeologists use observations and inferences and how they learn from the past? Because they weren't there, right?
Yes.
So they're using the clues all around them. So somebody talk to me about how they do this. What have you learned, Gladys?
That when they found something, they tried to figure it out with some stuff.
And are they always right?
No.
No, they're not always right, but they use their best thinking along with their best clues. Thank you guys for joining our class today at Holladay Elementary School. I hope you learned something about analyzing and interpreting artifacts.
Go!